Hello and welcome to the Wondermongers,
where we talk about the strange and freakish things in our slice of the world. I'm Christina.
And I'm Quincy. Let's wonder, monger. Hello and welcome to this episode of The Watering Hole. Today's topic is the Isdal Woman. You will be receiving this episode in 2 parts. Here's part 1. Hello, Christina.
Hi.
How are you today?
Oh, I'm doing fine. How are you?
Oh, I'm doing great. Surprisingly better than I was earlier today.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Oh, crap. I gotta think about what your question was.
That was a great intro to it. Yes, Christina, enlighten us.
Mother bear.
What is your metaphor for how you exist in friends of your friends' lives? Or, like, people you don't really know? Like, you know what I'm saying, right?
I think so.
Like, what is your metaphor for in being in the orbit of your friends?
I'm an NPC.
That's a good one.
Thanks.
That's a really good one, actually. But, like, sometimes you get clicked on.
Yeah. Sometimes people want to talk to me to see what I have to say, but then they're like, wow, that was kind of a waste of my time, and then they walk away.
Oh, no. I don't think you're a waste of time at all.
Oh, thanks.
So much so I made a podcast with you.
Yay! But, like, you're not a friend of a friend.
No, this is true.
Yeah, so.
What am I, Christina? Define our relationship right now.
Oh, Jesus H. Howard Christ.
Howard? Howard be thy name? Is that what it is?
Correct. We are friends.
Great.
That's it. That's all I got for you. They are really going at it, the pilots.
This is not Top Gun. I don't think we can say that. I think those are helicopters, not planes. Would it be a helicopter pilot, or do they have another term?
They're still pilots.
Oh,
yeah.
okay. Why did I think they had another better term for that?
I don't know. As far as I know, they're just helicopter pilots.
Alrighty, heli pilots it is.
Neat. So, this is a watering hole.
Yay! Lead me to it. Make me drink.
Okay. I'll do my best. I have chosen the topic of a mystery.
We love a mystery.
And I picked the Isdal Woman.
I've heard of her.
In what context?
I watched a BuzzFeed Unsolved.
I knew it. As I was doing my research, I saw it and I was like, this bitch already knows.
Of the Isdal Woman.
Uh-huh.
But it's been a minute.
Uh-huh.
So, like, I recognize her name.
Mm-hmm.
I recognize the photo of her body.
Mm-hmm.
Which is horrible for me to say. I feel like that...
Yeah, I get what you're saying, though. Like in both contexts.
Yeah. And something about that nose is familiar to me. In the sketches of her, they all have the same... Like, that feels familiar to me.
Okay.
In my brain somewhere.
Do you not remember anything else?
Wasn't she lit on fire?
She was.
Okay. And, like, was it her stuff that was, found up on the cliff all, like, folded up nice? Or was that the...
Not quite.
Okay.
Like, there is kind of an element, but not like that, really.
Okay. I might be thinking of the Somerton Man.
Perhaps.
We can talk about him a whole other time.
Yeah.
That one's a trip.
I know nothing about this man.
Okay.
Great.
So, tell me about the Isdal Woman.
Okay. So, in northern Norway, just shy of the border of Sweden, is a valley called Isdalen. It's literally called the Valley of Ice. It's a super tricky landscape to cross, and if you aren't careful enough, you're gonna end up a statistic. Serious mountain accidents are not uncommon, and due to that fact and its history involving suicides in medieval times, and hikers falling to their deaths in the area due to fog in the 60s, locals have actually given the same valley another name. I'm going to mispronounce this. Dødsdalen, I believe, is how you pronounce it. But in English, it's called the Valley of Death. One death in particular ended up shaking Norway, and it's still a huge major topic of discussion today. This was back in the 70s. And I know I just talked about how dangerous this place was, or is technically, but I guess it wasn't too dangerous for these two young girls and their father. They went on a little stroll, a little hikey hike, on the morning of Sunday, November 29th of 1970, in, the Valley of Death.
So this is not like an outing my grandfather would have brought my brother and I on. This wasn't like a stroll or like a little hike.
I would never suggest that you have a picnic basket. No.
Okay.
So it's like, they've even described it later as like an area that people would normally not go. Like, it's a very strange place for anyone to be walking in. So it's wild that they actually found her. But basically, they had no issues with the terrain, except for the fact that they found a burnt body, which you can probably guess is the Isdal Woman, or Isdal Woman, depending on who you are. So she was burned, mostly undressed, but she did have some stuff like on her when she was burned.
Okay.
Her front was really badly burnt, but her back was really fine, to be honest. It was kind of untouched by the flames. Her face was unrecognizable. She was laying like amongst a bunch of giant rocks. And she was in the boxer position, which is kind of typical of burn victims.
Yes.
And the boxer, it literally looks like their arms are out like they're boxing. So if you needed some sort of a visual here. She had a couple of different items on her person, and that would be the clothes that she was wearing. They had their labels removed, and she had other items on her as well while the burning was happening, but some were just laying around her. Like, they were placed there.
Oh my god, is this the lady with, like, the suitcase full of... Like, she had a bunch of stuff, but all the labels were removed, and she had, like face cream and stuff in there, and, like... Oh, okay. Okay, it's coming back.
Some people said that, like, the stuff that was laying around her kind of looked ritualistic. And I'm not sure what a watch, a ring, a burnt matchbox, a plastic cover, which was probably for a passport, an almost empty bottle of cloister liquor, and two melted bottles of water qualify as ritualistic, but alright. Live your life, I guess. What?
Anything can be ritualistic, I guess, with the right intention.
Okay.
But I get what you're saying.
Like, it just seems like an odd mishmash of things to say, wow, looks like a ritual.
That's fair.
But then again, it was the 70s.
And I guess that term, like the ritual, has been used to explain things that historians just don't understand for how long.
That's fair.
So...
You make a fair point. Anyway, she had a bunch of stuff around her that was placed, but she also had stuff on her person that, most of it was affected by the fire. Mm-hmm. Now, the police had actually found 2 suitcases abandoned at the Bergen train station.
Okay. And
they ended up being linked to the mysterious woman.
Great.
One of the items inside was a pair of prescription-free eyeglasses.
Prescription-free?
Yes.
So, like costume glasses?
Yes.
Okay.
They were basically useless. And they had a fingerprint on the lens. And, of course, it turned out to be hers. So that's how they were able to link her with the items in question. The other items inside of the suitcases, they were not more unusual, but kind of on the same wavelength of prescription-free eyeglasses. Like, kind of weird. Great. You had more clothing with the tags cut out. So it's looking like she cut out all the tags. Mm-hmm. A comb, a hairbrush, cosmetics, teaspoons, eczema cream that had the, prescription also wiped clean. 2 wigs and a notepad. Now, the notepad contained coded information that baffled the police at first.
Okay.
and it was eventually deciphered as a travel log.
Oh, things are coming back.
It's all just like trickling in.
Yeah. I'm gonna state it right now. Spoiler alert. I might be going with spy on this one.
Okay. Well,
on.
we'll see. We'll see how that pans out. Now, while all this was kind of strange, what was even more strange was the fact that with all of this information, you would think that they would want to keep going and keep investigating and try and figure out what's going on. No. The head investigator, Oscar Horns, announced that the case was closed on December 22nd of 1970. That was only 3 weeks after the body was actually found, and he denied the accusations that she could be a spy, saying there was no evidence of it, and he was also asked if it was murder. He insisted that it was a suicide and nothing further.
Oh, that's... Okay.
You feel strongly.
What a horrifically painful way to commit suicide.
Exactly. It seems extra. It seems unnecessary. It doesn't seem like what a normal individual would think, wow, let me light myself on fire. And that's the way I decide to go out, because it sounds so painful.
Yeah. So I with the knowledge that we've talked about with cremations before, and I looked it up to make sure it was right. The optimum temperature to cremate a person is 1,400 to 1,800 degrees Fahrenheit. And that has to be held for usually about an hour.
Yeah.
And so if you're trying to commit suicide this way, it's not gonna get that hot.
Right, yeah.
The average fire just does not get that hot.
Yeah. You can't recreate cremation in an external area. Like, you need it enclosed.
Well, you
at the very least.
You can open pyre cremation, but that takes hours, sometimes days, and you have to have people there stalking the fire.
Oh, okay.
And have it's prolonged.
Right.
They do open pyre cremation in Creston, Colorado. Mm-hmm. But it's very, very different from what this looks like.
Yeah.
So the suicide thing just doesn't pan out to me.
Right. Like, if you're trying to make it to where no one finds you, yeah.
Yeah, but then why, if you don't want anybody to find you, why set up all your things? Okay, keep going. Horns decided 3 weeks was enough.
Right. Now, other police officers that were working with the case, they also felt like the actual investigation itself had been suppressed by a higher authority, and the whole thing kind of left a really bad taste in their mouths, and they felt like something just wasn't finished.
Yeah.
And it wasn't just one officer or one investigator that thought that. It was basically the whole department that was working on it. They all talked to their kids who ended up talking to reporters, or they talked to the reporters themselves. Like, it was a general consensus. This is above my pay grade, and they're letting me know that I can't talk about it anymore. Which, boy, weird. Completely weird. Because it's some random woman.
Yeah.
She's not even from Norway.
Okay. Yeah.
So it's weird that he closed the case. It's weird that they felt suppressed, but it's also strange that he closed this case before the toxicology and autopsy reports had even been completed.
Yeah, that's fucked. Something's not right there.
Exactly. So eventually they were both available a week after the holidays were over. And according to both the documents, 50 to 70 feminine brand sleeping pills from England had been found in her stomach.
That's so many.
Yep.
That makes sense. That is a viable suicide.
Right, it could be.
That makes sense.
Right.
But if that happened, you don't have time. You wouldn't be lighting yourself on fire if you were gonna Or maybe you would if...
I guess it just depends on how long it takes.
Yeah.
For that to...
That's a lot of...
Yeah, that's excessive for sure. And I don't think a normal person would say, let me down all these pills and then go for a little stroll.
Yeah, no.
It seems a little strange to me, but what do I know? Not all of those pills that I talked about had actually been absorbed into her bloodstream.
Yeah, I believe that.
At the time of death, the sleeping pills would have, like, that entered the bloodstream would have definitely made her woozy, possibly have knocked her out, but it would not have killed her quite yet. Mm-hmm. The last 12 tablets that hadn't yet dissolved definitely would have been fatal, and she would have ended up dead anyway.
Okay.
Regardless on if there was a fire or not. Now, they also found soot particles found in her respiratory tract.
So she was alive.
She was alive while the fire was happening.
Yucky. I hate that.
Yep. So there was that. The autopsy itself also showed that she had an unexplained bruise on the right side of her neck, which could have been due to a blow or a fall. Could be nothing, could be something. Unknown. She showed no signs of being ill, pregnant, or ever birthing a child. The official cause of death was likely a combination of poisoning from the pills themselves and carbon monoxide poisoning from the fire. And I would assume also, the shock and stress of being lit on fire seems a little...
Yeah, that doesn't really help.
Yeah, that's another layer. But in my research, I found that some people say that there was no accelerant found around her, and others saying they found petrol around her.
Okay.
And the way that they describe it makes it seem like there was like a container of petrol.
Okay.
But I only found it in one source. I didn't find it in others. So I'm not entirely sure if they found a container of petrol like around her body or further from her body, or if they're just referring to the ground under her being soaked in petrol. That one for sure was something that I found in an article. So I'm not entirely sure.
Okay.
Unfortunately.
Either way, with an accelerant, that's not going to get hot enough to cremate the body.
No, but...
Or burn long enough, for that matter.
Right. But if there was no container of petrol on site...
Somebody had to have taken it with them.
Exactly. And I don't think some random passerby is going to be like, burnt body.
I'm going to take this petrol.
Right.
You're not going to use it.
Right, exactly. So it sounds to me like there's a third party involved.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't like it.
Yep. After finding the body, they were able to piece together a sketch from the info they had. They sent it out to hotels in the area, figured out where she had been traveling, and it was a lot, honestly. She had also been using a few different names while at these hotels. The following were names that she used, or at least the ones we know about. Genevieve Lancier, Claudia Tielt, Claudia Nielsen, Alexia Zarn Marquez, Vera Jarl, Fenella Lorch, and Elizabeth Lienhofer. So, kind of strange names. Not Jane, not Jill. They're kind of out there.
Got a double Claudia.
Yeah, I thought that was kind of weird too. She also did use Ms. Lohnhofer, like Elizabeth Lohnhofer, but I don't know if that was just, Ms., or if it actually was referring to, like, a shorthand of a name of some sort she went with. I'm not sure. So, there's that. She could be actually closer to the name Claudia than anything, or maybe not.
Yeah.
So, they figured out which places she had been thanks to the handwriting expert that they got on scene. Of all the names and identities that she had used, they all only had one thing in common. Her alleged origin was listed as Belgium.
Okay.
Nothing else was the same except for the fact that she was female.
Okay.
So that was kind of weird. She did write out her check-in information in German, and when eyewitnesses spoke about her, they claimed that she spoke broken English, German, and Flemish. which is basically a combo. So,
What's a combo?
like, Flemish just means English and German as a combo, like Spanglish.
Oh, I always, yep. That's
I thought
not
so
what
anyway.
I thought it was, French and English, Flemish.
You know what? You got the Google machine.
Oh, yeah, I
Check
do.
me, because I thought that it was German and English together, where it was like broken English but also broken German.
Flemish, related to Flanders, its people in the language. That doesn't help.
Flanders.
Yeah, that's what I said.
Oh,
Flanders. The Dutch language, as spoken in Flanders, one of 2 official languages of Belgium. So we're both wrong. Flemish is an honest-to-goodness language.
Oh, well. My bad.
Everybody I knew from, like, that area of the world spoke Dutch.
Right.
So I guess I never really...
Right. But, so she's got that going for her. And when they looked into all of her identities, because, you know, we got to flesh out everything just to be on the safe side, they came up short with all of them, of course, being faked. Mm-hmm. So we got nothing. We got nothing that's sticking, really. Experts, later on, they said that they think that she went to school and learned to write in France or in French-speaking parts of Belgium, maybe Switzerland. And it was just based on... Huh?
They speak French in Switzerland? I did not know that. Sorry.
No,
you're giving me a whole other lesson here that's not about the Isdal Woman, but about the world.
It really came down to... Because like I said, she wrote all of her check-in information in German.
Right.
But when she wrote the stuff, she used a lot of French isms. Like, they tended to... when they signed their names, they would do one... like big letter for their first name. So let's say it was Claudia.
So it's a
big
giant
C, but that C would end up underlining the rest of her name.
Oh, okay.
So it was stuff like that, or they would throw 2 lines on a T. Instead of it just being 1 down, 1 cross, it would be 1 down, 2 crosses.
Ooh, I like that.
Right, so it would be stuff like that that was just generally what French-speaking individuals did when they wrote.
Pop off, France. I like that a lot.
So they think that that's something that was a part of her upbringing that just couldn't get away from her, regardless on what was going on. Now, this woman was about 5'4.5" tall, so she was
Little.
She was little, but like probably average for the time. Like,
in the area, I guess, probably.
yeah, probably. She had brown eyes, medium dark hair. She appeared to be between 25 and 40 years old, though.
That is such a range.
Yeah, it is. But experts do think that she was actually closer to 40 than 25. So there's that. Her teeth, my dude, her teeth were different. She had 14 of her teeth filled and several gold crowns. And that really wasn't typical of someone her age. I don't care how badly she abused her teeth. That just wasn't normal.
Okay.
It also wasn't really commonplace in dentistry in Norway to provide that kind of a service, so she had to have done it elsewhere.
And she had to have some money if they're gold.
Exactly. And since she's traveling around a lot, she kept that money for sure. So she had finances to a degree. Now, once the case was reopened in 2016, and they did reopen it, they found her jaw. Yeah.
Like her jawbone?
No, her jaw. Her entire jaw. It was removed. Because think about it, 1970s.
Uh-huh.
You're an investigator. You only have a certain amount of information that is useful to you, technology-wise. Teeth aren't it. They're weird, sure, and you could talk about it. But what are you going to do?
You're not doing dental records.
Right.
Oh.
Yeah.
So, but why, even if you're not using them, why would you remove the jawbone?
I mean,
Why would you remove your personal Jeremy Allen White?
I'm assuming it was brittle enough to where it just kind of popped off. I don't know. I could be wrong.
And was it... Where'd they find it, Christina?
Well, like I said, they found it, right?
Where?
Kind of a weird thing, right?
I swear to God.
A professor in dentistry had actually kept the jaw, so it wasn't even in police custody. This professor was super interested because it was so different than anything he had seen in Norway. So he kept the jaw, hoping that other experts would actually recognize the work. And he probably never found out because he ended up dying before anything mattered, really. So when he died, it was thought that the jaw had been thrown away because it started smelling.
Okay.
What a weird thing. Yes.
As a person who's into oddities, I can't fault this man. Like, I don't know how he got a hold of it. Mm-hmm. But honestly, I can't say that, like, I can't say that's too weird. Like, as a oddities person, that's fine.
Okay.
That's fine with me.
Okay. Like, all of the oddities that you currently have possession of or have been interested in, have they ever been human?
Technically, yeah. I have human oddity.
Okay. Is it a whole jaw?
No, it's teeth.
Oh, okay. Well, that's... Are they yours?
Yes.
Okay. Well, that's different.
And also,
What?
I think I have... I have my brother's somewhere.
Oh, okay. Okay, that's way less
And
weird than I thought it was going to go. What
I
do you mean,
have a
and?
friend.
What?
I have a friend who has agreed in their, like, will situation that I get some of their teeth.
Do they collect teeth?
They do.
You want your friend's teeth?
Oh, I'd be down.
Live it, dude. That is not my life. Enjoy your teeth.
I will.
When you finally get them.
I genuinely, I can't fault this man, this dentist.
Okay. I'm happy for you, and I'm happy for this dentist man, except for the fact that he's gone.
R.I.P. Jaw Man. And that concludes part 1 of the Isdal Woman. This will be a 2-part series. We will see you back next week for part 2.